I went and saw Deadpool. And what did I think of it? Odds are you already know, it was amazing. It's freaking Deadpool. Everyone on the face of the planet seems to have gone and seen this movie, and for good reason. I'm sure you've all heard, spoiler warning for those of you who haven't seen it, for some reason, go out and see it for God's sake. But anyway, spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it, it's freaking amazing, and there's a lot of reasons why. First and foremost, this is something I want to say. Everybody's already talked about how funny it is. I'm not going to go too deep into that because everybody's saying it. Everybody's told you how hilarious it is. Everyone's quoting it. I want to take a look at some of the different things that I thought was just really smart of the film to do. For instance, the fact that it started out on a really small scale. A lot of superhero movies right now are just diving right into, the big save the world type of scenario and everything's on the line stuff. But Deadpool took a much more clever route with it, and they just started on a very small scale where it's pretty much just Deadpool wanting to get revenge and to save his girlfriend. That's not some big major thing. They didn't even have this big major threat. It was just really about Deadpool, and that was a very intelligent route to go, because honestly that's what people were going in to see. They just wanted to see Deadpool be Deadpool and try and forget about that awful X-Men Origins movie. And of course, I could talk for hours about Ryan Reynolds and the fact that he really did just understand the character of Deadpool and just dove into it. And that the writers and directors really clearly let him have a lot of fun with it, which is what they needed to do. And I think, again, that's a lot of what made this film so good, is that the writers knew exactly what they needed to do. They needed to have just a Deadpool movie. They just needed to show people what Deadpool really was about before they tried to do something bigger. And I think that's honestly another reason I think it's smart they didn't start off with someone like Cable right away. They're not just trying to get everything, check a bunch of check marks as to what Deadpool was. They were really just trying to introduce him to people who hadn't seen him yet and make them understand what Deadpool is. And for me, that's why, the small scale, the simple way it was presented was genius, because they knew they didn't need this engaging villain. They didn't need a perfect romance, although they had a pretty awesome romance. They didn't need every other aspect of the film to be 10 out of 10 as long as they had Deadpool being Deadpool. So that's really a genius aspect of it for me. I mean, if I had to complain about one thing with the film, and it's a really minor complaint from my standpoint, and that's really that, they definitely did make fun of the previous incarnations of Deadpool and the previous stuff they've done. I would have liked a little more fourth wall breaking in certain places. They definitely did break the fourth wall, but I don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, you kidding me, they broke the fourth wall all the time. Maybe not as much as they did in the comics, though. It felt like there were missed opportunities for humor and even for action in certain places. But that being said, it's a really small complaint. Everything about the film worked. I don't know if anything was perfect, necessarily, except maybe Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, but everything worked. They got down the most important aspect of it, and at the end of the day, that's really what they needed to do. And also, kudos for throwing Bob in. For those of you who don't know, Bob wasn't just a little addition. He was a legitimate thing from the comics, a running gag, and the fact that they found a way to work him in there and that they're likely planning to use him in multiple films later on is pretty freaking clever. I think that's awesome. Again, these were writers who just knew exactly what Deadpool was and clearly had the passion for the hero itself. And it just worked out. I don't think it could have worked out any better than it did. It's one of the reasons that I really think I have faith. It's gonna sound weird, but it's one of the reasons I actually have faith for Batman v Superman. They're putting their characters in talented hands and really just kind of trying to show them what the characters are about and telling them what to do. Whereas I feel some other superhero movies are just trying to get bigger and trying to hit all the check boxes. So yeah, I thought it was great. I would highly recommend going to see it. I'd say about an 8.5 out of 10. It was a great film. Honestly, I could easily see this being one of my favorite films of 2016. It's definitely gonna go down as one of the funniest. It was just absolutely fantastic. If you haven't gone out and seen it yet, go see it.